He's allowed me. He's called me. Okay, sir. Thank you very much, Speaker, sir, for allowing me to respond to the discussions which have taken place on the finance bill. This finance bill, sir, we have attempted to do several things which, as per the expectation and aspiration of the people of India, and also the goal that the Honorable Prime Minister has given us towards a Vikasit Bharat by 2047, which is hardly 22 years from now. So we have done a lot of major steps through this finance bill. It's actually a bill which aims to provide tax certainty. It rationalizes a lot of provisions which are towards ease of doing business and also provides unprecedented tax relief in honor of the taxpayers of this country. So I'll straight go to talking about the direct taxation, in which the income tax is something which I'd spend a minute on, and then talk about the other direct tax reforms that we've undertaken. We've recognized the strength, spirit, and the contribution of the Indian middle class, and as a result, this budget has, under the new tax regime, come with a proposal that there will be now zero income tax payable for income up to 12 lakh rupees. So that is an average of 1 lakh rupee per month salary, which is going to be tax-free, completely tax-free. So for the salaried taxpayers, this limit technically will be even higher. At 12.75 lakhs, which is inclusive of the 75,000 rupees standard deduction, and the marginal relief that is going to be applied for the taxpayers reduces the tax burden on the marginal rise in the income beyond the limit. So I will elaborate this point in response to some of the members who have asked specific question about what happens for those who are crossing 12 lakhs per annum income. I'm also glad to say that through this finance bill, we have brought in the new income tax bill, meaning I have not presented it as part of the finance bill. The introduction of the new finance bill during the budget session this time, which of course is rightly gone into a select committee's review, post which we will take it up in hopefully in the monsoon session, aims to. Yes, I thought I said that. I said it is not brought through the finance bill, it is a new income tax bill. Thank you. So, brought during this budget session, but hopefully we'll have it taken up for discussion in this House during the monsoon session. So during this budget session, sir, not only the provisions and also certain reformatory steps taken during the through the finance bill, the rationalization of customs also is a major thing that I'll come to talk about in a minute. So the steps taken for the customs duty reduction are also post elaborate discussion with the stakeholders. So there has been an element of Jan Bhagidari, both in the preparation of the new income tax bill and in the larger finance bill itself. The other direct tax reforms, sir, are worth mentioning. We have brought down certain TDS and TCS provisions. We've increased the thresholds so that the deduction of tax starts at a higher threshold rather than a lower. In respect of sale of goods, the requirement of TCS, particularly under section 206C 1H, is proposed to be done away with. We are completely removing it. Further, considering the difficulties which is faced by the taxpayer, we now propose to allow the benefit of 2 such self-occupied properties without any condition. And that is a major step which will benefit the middle class, because in order to prove that the second house is also under their occupation, they do quite a few of paperwork and diligence has to be kept up. We are now saying you don't even need to do the paperwork. We take it as you stated for the second such occupied property. In order to streamline the process of transfer pricing, sir, and to provide an alternative to yearly examination, we have proposed that a scheme of determining arm's length price in international transaction for a block period of 3 years at a time. So this will be in line with the global best practices. So annually, people do not have to rush to prove what the transfer pricing commitments will be. Further, we've also, with a view to reducing the litigation and provide certainty in international taxation, the scope of safe harbor rules have been expanded. Instead of having it narrow and expecting people to continuously come and prove that it is required for their business, we've widened it, and the safe harbor rules are therefore broader in favor of the assessee. Further, the presumptive taxation regime for non-residents is also now a lot more relaxed, particularly in the case of those businesses or resident companies which are operating in electronics manufacturing facilities, because electronics manufacturing demands supply of components in time, and those specific components will have to be brought in. If time lapses in their supply from the original equipment manufacturer, the production itself will suffer. So we've given them this particular presumptive tax regime so that the non-residents who participate in these services, particularly given to a resident company, can benefit. So also for the startups, again, which is primarily for the middle class, government has proposed to extend the period of incorporation of startups by 5 years to allow the benefit available to the startups which are incorporated before 1/4/2030. So that's been an extension given so that there's greater participation of the newer registering startups as well. Again, to promote IFSC, the International Financial Services Center, government has proposed specific benefits to ship leasing units, to insurance offices, treasury centers of global companies which set up business in the IFSC. In order that they can claim benefits, the cutoff date of commencement for the commencement in IFSC has also been extended for 5 years, that is up to 31/3/2030. So these are, in brief, the steps through this finance bill taken up for direct taxation. Now, if I were to briefly look at the indirect tax, sir, as I said earlier, the customs rationalization, tariff rationalization, which was an exercise that we began 2 years ago, every year some or the other rationalization related steps have been announced in the budget. Now, this budget, this finance bill in 2025 relating to the customs aims to rationalize tariff structure and to address duty inversion. These will also support manufacturing units, domestic value addition, promote exports, facilitate trade, and also provide relief to the common people. So that has to be highlighted because it's not just the new income tax bill which is coming, but this finance bill itself is talking about rationalization of customs, which is a very big step forward so that importers can benefit from it. Exporting industry which import parts can also become cost competitive. So, budget 2025, sir, we aim to boost domestic production and enhance export competitiveness by reducing duties on raw materials and inputs, making domestic products more cost effective, as I said a minute ago. So, taking forward the comprehensive review of customs, about which I would like to elaborate, the rate structure announced in July 2024 budget, we are taking that forward. So as I said, the exercise began 2 years ago. We made a major announcement in July 2024 budget. We are taking it further in this budget also. So this finance bill actually proposes to remove 7 customs tariff rates for industrial goods. The 2 tranches of rationalization of customs tariff carried out so far have reduced the number of tariff rates from 21 to 8, including the zero-rated goods. Many Indian exporters have become cost competitive, and one matter which will interest honorable members is when you're looking at cess and surcharge, we made sure that on no one item on the customs duty where it is being imposed, both cess and surcharge would be imposed. We are looking at that, and therefore in this budget, in the finance bill, we have proposed that only one can be applied, and therefore only one cess or surcharge will be applied on any one item. So, for instance, social welfare surcharge will be now exempted from 82 tariff lines which are subject to a cess. So the double burden of both cess and surcharge on any particular item is being removed. In addition, sir, we also propose to add 35 additional capital goods for EV battery manufacturing and 28 additional capital goods for mobile phone battery manufacturing to the list of exempted capital goods to boost domestic manufacturing. So this will actually have a bearing. So EV battery manufacturing will be a lot more cost competitive because 13 additional capital goods are being exempted. So 28 additional capital goods for the mobile phone battery manufacturing are also being exempted. Sir, we also propose in this finance bill to fully exempt basic customs duty on cobalt powder, waste, the scrap of lithium-ion battery, lead, zinc, and 12 more critical minerals. So this is in addition to the 25 critical minerals which were fully exempted from the basic custom duty in the July 2024 budget. So we have not wasted time. After that, we've rapidly also brought in more goods, particularly critical minerals, into this exemption due. So the Customs Act as 1962 does not provide, as it prevails now, does not provide any time limit to finalize provisional assessments leading to uncertainty and cost to trade. So as a measure of promoting ease of doing business, in this finance bill, government has proposed to fix a time limit of 2 years, extendable by a year, for finalizing the provisional assessment. That will itself bring in a lot of certainty for those importers and exporters. Sir, we also propose to extend the time limit for end use of imported inputs in the relevant rules from 6 months to 1 year. What this actually means is some exporters, in order that they produce goods for export, import some components. The customs duty is not paid because they're bringing it for the production of goods which have to be exported, because we don't export taxes. But for that use of that component which is imported, we normally give 6 months, saying you brought it in June 2025, by December 2025, you should have sent that product out, that product which you manufactured with this particular item imported. Many exporters found it difficult. The 6 months period is not sufficient. So for them, we have extended that time period to 1 year. So this is more an export-friendly measure that we have taken. So we have actually allowed the industry to better plan their imports, and also we are providing operational flexibility. So these are as about the finance bill as it was presented to the House. We are, of course, coming up with some government amendments. The amendments which are being brought, 4 of them I'd like to highlight. The simplified safe harbor regime in Section 9A for investment funds managed by fund managers in India. Normally, these fund managers are expected to verify that no one exceeds the 5% limit in terms of direct investment or indirect investments. So it is proposed to be made further simpler by removing this 5% condition for monitoring indirect investment, because it becomes too cumbersome for them to search for who the investor is indirectly, and that itself hampers investment, so we are removing that. Clarificatory amendments in the provisions for IFSC's provisions and presumptive taxation for service providers for electronic manufacturing units is also being brought in as government amendment. And a third one, for clarity and consistency, a government amendment is coming in for small changes in the block assessment provisions, and then the 6% equalization levy, which was being proposed, which was in effect for advertisement and other things, is being proposed to be removed, so that we can address the uncertainty in the international economic conditions. So largely, these are the major... yes, I'll answer. These are my opening statements. I'll come to answering each one of the members' points. I will come to answering. So these are the finance bill related.
Writer for.
So then I now come to addressing individual members who have raised issues or sought clarification. So I'll go one by one by the issue. 2 or 3 members could have spoken on each of the issues. I'll go by the issues. So on the income tax, as I said, members have shown concern for incremental increase over 12 lakhs. What if, I think this was a member, Sri Neeraj Maurya, who had raised this question about if income is 12.10 or 12.20 lakhs, tax will have to be paid. So ensure taxes are graded from 12 lakh rupees is what the suggestion came from Sri Neeraj Maurya. So I want to say that even while I read the budget speech, we made it very clear that marginal relief is being granted. Under the provision of Section 87A, it has been ensured that the tax payable by a person having income marginally above 12 lakhs is required to pay only the marginal amount of tax equal to the amount of income above 12 lakh, so that his carry home is also 12 lakh of rupees. So he may earn incrementally more, but he'll still take back to his home 12 lakhs, and that increment on the incremental amount, the calculation is also very well explained. For instance, with an income of 12.10 lakh, rupees 10,000 is what he earns over the 12 lakh that he already earns. So for that 10,000 rupees, it will be paid as income tax only. Tax without marginal relief on that person earning 12.10 lakh would have been 61,500. So we have given the marginal relief where he, for the 10,000 rupees he earns more than the 12 lakh, the 12 lakh is exempt from tax, but the 10,000 will have to be paid as tax. He would have ended up paying 61,500, whereas because of the marginal scheme that we've added into this scheme of income tax, he ends up paying only 10,000 rupees. So, and when income of rupees 12.20, only 20,000 will be paid, and he will still take the 12 lakh. Otherwise, the marginal relief, if not given, he would end up paying 63,500 rupees. So the marginal relief has been brought in for the incremental increase in pay. Sir, personal income tax has been reduced by way of rebate. This can be altered in the coming years. It may be done away with in the future years if income tax collection is lower. Was one of the questions asked by an honorable member here. Sir, I can only say, if you look at the track record, even during COVID, we did not raise tax. So where we have come up with a rebate in order to benefit the middle class, an element of suspicion is being brought in, saying, what if tomorrow you... I'm sorry, sir. Sorry? Sorry? Sorry?
On petroleum products, didn't you bring cess on 2020?
On petroleum products? Excuse me, sir. I will answer what I've heard till now, but if members want to ask these questions, I will also point out to them. Citizens are our citizens. I have not raised any rates on any item, nor did I increase income tax. But if fuel is being brought to discussion, and that too by honorable member from Tamil Nadu, I will say their manifesto promised. They have not fulfilled their promise, and he is asking me question. Amazing.
And they were the one who had increased.
So, sir, N.K. Premachandranji has said collections in personal income tax have shown considerable buoyancy in the last few years. His question was, how are you showing income tax collection growth while giving 1 lakh crore revenue foregone? I want to let the honorable member know, N.K. Premachandranji, the calculations are not done without taking these 1 lakh foregone, income tax reduction. We've spent a lot of time, and most often, in fact, I would want you to please look at the last 5-6 years of the budgets. I've been accused of underestimating, never overestimating, but I have replied each time saying our calculations are realistic. And that is what I will use to explain in answering your question. Collections in personal income tax have shown considerable buoyancy, sir, in the last few years. They have been increasing around 20% year on year. For the year 25-26, the income tax, personal income tax projection is 13.6 lakh crores. The RE for 24-25, I'm talking of the projected, which is BE for 25-26, is 13.6 lakh crores. The RE of the year that we are completing, which is completing on 31st March now, is 12.2 lakh crores. So 12.2 lakh and going to a BE of 13.6 is done with a certain realistic calculation. The projection, sir, of growth for 25-26 is around 13.14%. The effective dip of around 7% in personal income tax growth is on account of the factoring in of the revenue foregone, which is 1 lakh. So the dip is already shown for the 1 lakh crore which is being foregone. So the calculation is after showing the dip. And that is why it is a realistic number. So the projected collections for income tax for 25-26 are based on sound data.
जनता को पैसा दिया है 1.5 लाख करोड़.
Sir,
हमारी सरकार.
income tax receipts
आपको भी मिला है.
So the growth rate question which Shri N.K. Premachandranji raised, I think I have sort of answered it. I'll now move to the privacy issues, sir, which people have raised. Privacy issues, which is not so much the finance bill related matter. It is a matter which is being taken up from the new income tax bill, which is with the select committee. But I want to assure the honorable member that a provision, particularly to look at the data, exists in the current environment, particularly in certain cases of search and seizure authorized by the competent authority, where access code is not available and the person concerned is not cooperating with the proceedings, the authorized officer may gain access to such computer system, exists even now. Now it is now being specifically brought in and mentioned in the new bill because what is mentioned in the 1961 Income Tax Act is books of account physically kept, and then the ledgers, and every manual record which will show about your income, your expenditure, your monies and all that is specifically mentioned. And since the 1961 Act does not mention the digital, most often it becomes contentious. People go to the court or question, all right, I've shown you my ledger, but why do you want my passcode so you will see my digital? Becomes an issue. So in order that what prevails now with a gap, that gap is getting filled up in the new income tax, which is before the bill, which is before the select committee. So in this, I will take a minute to explain as to why that digital thing will have to be brought in. Sir, encrypted messages and mobile phones, unaccounted money to the extent of 250 crores have been detected when the encryption has been decoded. One. Second, evidences which have been seized from WhatsApp messages, particularly crypto assets worth more than 90 crores, and the network of people involved in it have all come out of WhatsApp messages. Now, if the law does not give you the legal backing, in spite of the fact and evidence being in your face, you will have to go stand in the court to say, yes, but the law doesn't provide, but the evidence is here, the money is being misused, it is unaccounted money. It becomes tedious. And therefore, the digital element has to be brought in. I'll bring in one more example, sir. WhatsApp communications and incriminating materials found from such conversations helped to unearth the syndicate and identify the end beneficiaries of bogus bills worth 200 crores. So do I go to the court again saying, but the law doesn't allow me to look at WhatsApp messages? So we need to bring in. There's also another example, sir. Capital gains of 150 crore on sale of land was reduced to 2 crores by creating false documents of land cost of acquisition, and also using all payments in banks' statements as claims of investments and improved expenditure. So the WhatsApp group of key persons include many professionals also, unfortunately. So we had to contemplate on how to be lawfully on the side of law to say that these are evidences which are incriminating in themselves. Therefore, it has been brought in. I can also give one more, which is evidences have been found with the help of Google Map History. So in the case of Google Map History, sir, found on the phone was used to determine the frequented locations of individuals who enabled location history. This enabled detection of hideouts where cash and unaccounted transactions are kept, and that also came of help. So there is a need for us to change or add the digital elements into the Act itself. So one last example for that, sir. The prohibition of Binami properties, Instagram accounts was used to establish the beneficial ownership of vehicles. Expensive vehicles, no ownership details, track it at the going backward and forward. We could break the case by using Instagram. So benefit of technology for the sake of country's exchequer. So then questions about pending appeal cases, that CBDT has poor dispute management and pursues all cases. So I would like to say, sir, in order to reduce the number of pending appeals, several measures have been taken by the CBDT. One such a thing is the enhancement of monetary limits for filing of appeals by the department before the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal, High Court or the Supreme Court, creation of new posts of joint commissioners for appeals exclusively. Also, we came up with the direct tax Vivad Se Vishwas scheme in 2020 and also in 2024. Twice we brought this, and this has helped in reducing the pending appeals. And the famous, or not so famous, repetitive appeal. a new section 158AB is inserted so as to provide that if a question of law in the case of an assessee is identical to a question of law pending in appeal before the jurisdictional High Court or the Supreme Court, or in any case, the filing of further appeal to the appellate tribunal or the jurisdictional High Court in the case of assessee shall be deferred till such a question of law is decided by that relevant court. So that's been a major step in holding the department back, the CBDT back, from going into a case which is already, a similar such case is already in a court. We don't want to pursue it. We'll wait for the final verdict to come from there. So also there was this question by Mohammed Bashir ji, dispute resolution mechanism of department is very poor. So I want to inform the member that the dispute resolution mechanism following the measures that we've taken, provided we've brought in a provision of updated returns, and that's been introduced for voluntary compliance. Sir, I'm sure the honorable members will be aware that we had already enabled updated additional updated returns so that assessees can correct the not declared income when they want to modify their assessments. For within the first year, if you modify and come up, we only say pay 25% additionally. And if the second year they come up, we say pay 50%. And these two, first year and second year modified amendments, provisions have actually been well received by the assessees. So we are encouraged to bring in the third year and the fourth year modified assessment provision for the benefit of the tax assessees, that when they came in the first year, they paid only 25%, second year they paid only 50%, third year they will be now given the option to choose, and they can just pay 60% and close the whole business, or the fourth year, if they want to modify, they pay 70%, and that is where the story would end. So the Dispute Resolution Committee has also been constituted. A taxpayer having taxable income of up to 50 lakh and disputed income of up to 10 lakh shall be eligible to approach the committee for relief, and therefore that element of uncertainty is being removed. E-verification system is also being brought in to increase voluntary tax compliance. E-verification system 2021 was notified in December 2021. I just wanted to highlight that, sir. We carried out a nudge campaign, sir. I'd like to inform the honorable members about it. This is in relation to assets and monies kept abroad. I'm sure the honorable members, many of them would recall that in 2018, my eminent predecessor, Shri Arun Jaitley, had made an announcement in the House that there is an agreement globally now to share information. India will be receiving a bulk of information of Indian accounts being held outside, and every year we shall use that, and where prosecution has to be, or where cases will have to be filed in the court, because not everybody's name and account number which comes in are of people who are holding tax evaded money. They can be genuine accounts also, because the stock that they send, the bulk, the data dump that they give us has everybody's account in it. So using that, we have really been nudging taxpayers, saying we've got this information about your property abroad, about your deposits abroad. Would you want to look at it and come back to us? That has actually helped us, and I'd like to highlight how. We nudge the taxpayers to voluntarily disclose their foreign income and assets. SMSs and emails were sent to around 19,501 select taxpayers, asking them to review their income tax returns filed for the year 24-25 based on the information available on the income tax about their foreign deposits. The result of that campaign, I'm happy to share with the honorable members, out of 19,501 taxpayers, a total of 11,162 taxpayers revised their returns and filled scheduled foreign assets form and declared an total assets of 11,259.29 crores, disclosing foreign income of also 154.42 crores. So the nudge campaign about properties abroad which have never been disclosed have been, because of the campaign, successfully at the ease of the tax assessee been declared, and also the monies due have been paid. In addition to this above, 883 taxpayers reviewed their IT returns and corrected their status from resident to non-resident. Even that correction happened because we were able to give them the facts and ask them to either accept or give us a reply about it. So in their revised return for the year 24-25, they have said, no, they are not residents, but they should actually be treated as non-residents. So due to this outreach, there was a ripple effect, sir. This resulted in an addition of 13,516 taxpayers declaring foreign assets worth 7,564 crores and foreign income of 353 crores, or approximately, that is, in their revised return for 24-25. So cumulatively, this simple nudge has resulted in declaration of foreign assets worth 29,208 crores and foreign income up to 1,089 crores in the Schedule FA by 30,161 taxpayers. So this attempt by the Government of India to make sure people who have not declared their assets can now declare it by us taking a proactive nudge-based approach. So I'm very happy that this step is being responded well by the assessees as well. Sir, I've already probably said enough on the TDS, but I just want to say one line. So the two pillars of TDS-related problems are non-filers and the search for the valid PAN number. So this finance bill, we have proposed to omit the section 206AB and section 206 CCA, under which higher rates of TDS and TCS were levied in cases where the deductee or collectee were non-filers. Most often, non-filers were the ones on whom action had to be taken because they collected the TDS but did not deposit with the government's account, or they did not show because PAN and Aadhaar card linkages were not available with them. So we have very clearly said, in order to reduce the compliance burden, particularly for very senior citizens, certain non-residents, etc., we have clearly kept on the PAN and Aadhaar, we have kept the non-residents and also senior citizens out, and this provision has also been brought under the omission category. So there was this question by several members, Vishal Dada Patil, Shri Vishnu Prasad, and also Shri Mohammad Bashir, as to why the two tax regimes should continue to run parallel. I just want to say, sir, it is a stated policy of the government to phase out exemptions, deductions, and other incentives, while at the same time gradually reduce the tax rates. And we have provided as an option rather than a forceful decision to say we are shutting down the open. We are not. We are running both in parallel so that people who benefit from the old regime can please continue to be so. I am not drawing them to the new regime till such a time they either have exhausted all the exemptions or they choose to come here because of the rates. So that is why both the regimes continue. Sir, Shri N.K. Premchandran ji spoke about why did you have to reduce the corporate tax. It is only benefiting the large corporates. That's not true, sir. It benefits many companies which are medium-sized and middle as well. But has it benefited India? Yes, it has. According to the World Investment Report 2023, India was the third largest recipient of greenfield investment projects globally, with about 1,008 greenfield projects announced. Additionally, the number of international project finance deals in India rose by 64%, making India the second largest recipient of such deals. So investments come, they create more jobs, entrepreneurial opportunities are available for middle class. All this has been made available because of the corporate tax reduction. Sir, I want to just highlight the fact that, on GST-related issues, sir, several members spoke about issues related to GST. I just want to highlight, sir, that the allegation that the GST is not progressive is absolutely unfounded. It is not true at all. I would like to highlight how, sir. Wealthiest 20% of Indians contribute 41.4% household GST and 14% of the total GST. That is, wealthiest 20% of Indians contribute 41.4% of household GST and 14.2% of the total GST, while the bottom 50% contributes just 28% of household GST and 9.6% of the total GST. So this argument that it is not progressive is not right at all. The poorest 50% face an average effective GST rate of 7.3% only. Under the pre-GST regime, sir, the average indirect tax rate was around 15%, whereas as of March 2023, after the GST has been introduced, the average GST rate is just 12.2%. At the time of introduction, it was 15. In pre-GST, it was 15. Now it is only 12.2. Sir, I've repeatedly said several times that the taxes on ordinary people's daily use products are far lower. It have been brought down. I'm not going to take this August House's time by reading the list completely. I will probably put it on the table for any member to look at. NIPFP, a big research center, shows that the most consumer items face low or no GST taxes at all. Less than 3% of common consumption items attract the highest rate of 28%. So 28% tax is on only less than 3% of common man consumption items. Nearly 60% of consumption items face 5% or lower GST. So GST is exempted on several items, and I would like to broadly categorize them: unbranded food items, certain life-saving drugs, healthcare, education, public transport, sanitary napkins, hearing aid parts, agricultural services, etc. are completely exempt. Sir, several members seem to have said no discussion on reducing GST and reduce the number of slabs in this parliament. So the GST Council is a constitutional body. That's where the discussion happens. And subsequent to the decision taken by a group of ministers, and in that group of ministers, finance ministers of Bihar, UP, Rajasthan, West Bengal, Karnataka, and Kerala are all members of the committee. They are deciding on how to reduce GST and also reduce the number of slabs. Post that, if there are any amendments to be made in the CGST, we will come here. So the discussion on the reduction can be a part of the general discussion, but the actual discussion and the decision happens at the GST Council. So, sorry? Yes? Yes? Yeah, HSN code is something which the council will have to work with the authorities who decide on the codes. Sir, 5% GST is imposed on muscular atrophy drugs, where the cost of the drug is 80 lakhs for 1 vial. This was Srimati Sangeeta Roy from AITC. I just want to highlight, sir, that the IGST on import of drugs for rare diseases, including muscular dystrophy, has been fully exempted when imported by the patients for personal use. So there cannot be a GST on it. So I just want the member to please hear this. Once again, I'll repeat that the import of drugs, the IGST on such imports for rare diseases, including muscular dystrophy, has been completely exempted for patients for their personal use. Second, they are also exempted for person or institution which are recommended under the listed centers of excellence for their research or for any other testing. So they are all exempt, sir. So they were questioned. Hibby Aiden had raised this question about how Lord Ayyappa's Prasadam has been put under GST. And also talking about food prepared, like rice dumplings, are also under GST. I just want to say, sir, prasadam supplied by religious places, like temples, mosques, churches, gurudwaras, dargahs, are completely exempt from GST. I want the honorable members to kindly take note of this. They're completely exempt from GST. Sir, as regards reducing the rates on items in which the tax is being levied, as I said, there is a GOM which is looking into it, particularly for the food sector related queries. The GOM will take a call. So then, 18% GST on prosthetics is insensitive. Reduced GST on prosthetics and life-saving equipment was observed by one of the members. I just want to say, sir, from 2017 to 2022, like as it was before, the prosthetics attracted 12% GST till 22. Then in the 47th GST Council held in June 2022, the GST rate was reduced to 5%. Life-saving medical equipments, most medical devices such as X-ray apparatus, alpha, beta, gamma radiations for medical surgery or veterinary purposes attract concessional GST rate of 12%. Artificial parts of the body attract 5% only as GST. So I just want to be clear that GST is not levied on certain critical life-saving equipments. So there was this question about Suksham Sinchai, the micro irrigation. Devesh Shakya, member, asked this question. The GST rate on drip irrigation systems, including lateral sprinklers and products, has been reduced from 18% to 12% as per the decision taken by the 25th GST Council meeting on 18 January 2018. On the GST cess, there was a DMK member, Malayarasan, sorry, the spelling is wrong here. Malayarasan ji had asked this question on GST compensation, sir. I think I've answered this question several times. GST compensation, first of all, let me make it clear. There is no due whatsoever to states on GST compensation. When they have sent the utilization certificate or audited certificate, not utilization, the auditor's AG's certificate, everybody's money has been given. The law itself says that after June 30th, 2022, there's no compensation cess. So we are not collecting. What we are collecting now is actually being collected to repay the debt that was taken during the COVID time. When there was no income to share, we had to borrow to give the states, and that is what is being collected now, and that's also should be ending by early 2026, which is another 7-8 months. Sir, on the GST or insurance, again, the GOM is looking at it, and they will come with a decision, and that can be taken up by the GST Council, so I'm not elaborating much on it. Sir, GST, again, like the temples, there has been this question about, are you levying GST on education and healthcare related items? Again, I want to explain, sir. Following are the exemptions that are already provided to the education sector. Services provided by an education institution to its students, faculty, and staff are completely exempt. Services by an education institution by way of conduct of entrance examination is exempted. The following services are also exempted. Services related to admission to or conduct of examination by such institutions are exempt. If provided to preschool or up to higher secondary schools, any service, such as transportation of students, transportation of faculty and staff, catering, including midday meal schemes sponsored by the central government or state government or the union territory, security or cleaning or housekeeping services performed in such education institutions are all exempt from GST. Supply of online educational journals or periodicals are exempt, and that is also provided for higher education institutions. Educational institution has also been defined. I just want to clearly say, so what is an educational institution? Defined as an institution providing services by way of preschool education, education up to higher secondary school or equivalent, education as a part of curriculum for obtaining qualification recognized by any law for the time being in force, and education as a part of an approved vocational education course. Similarly, sir, when it comes to health, GST is fully exempt on healthcare services provided by a clinical establishment, an authorized medical practitioner, or a paramedic, and healthcare services includes diagnosis for illness, injury, etc., in any recognized system of medicine in India, and that's been clearly stated in the Central Act as well. So there was this question about reduction of GST on agricultural inputs. I just again want to explain, sir. Seeds attract 0 GST. There's no GST on seeds. 5% GST on fertilizers. Agricultural implements, manually operated or animal-driven, and hand tools attract 0 GST. And then tractors attract 12% GST. Agricultural pumps attract 12% GST. So a proposal to reduce GST on farm inputs like tractors from 12% to 0, farm inputs like drip irrigation system, other agricultural equipment, pesticides, fertilizers to 0 was placed on the 45th GST Council meeting held on 17th September 2021, but the Council did not recommend it then in 2021. I want to just put that on record, but of course, now the group of ministers is looking into it. So the items will be looked at by the GOM and they will take a call, sir. Sir, there were several other questions related to the budget, not so much on to the finance bill, so I'm not taking those, except for the proposal so there were just one thing on which, although it doesn't relate to the finance bill, I will seek your indulgence. I'd like to answer this. Issue raised by Sri Neeraj Maurya about benefits to the vulnerable sections, SCs, STs, OBCs, in the government initiatives. I will have to list them out, sir. Please give me that few minutes. Sir, under PM Kisan, around 76% of the farmers are SC, ST, and OBC. I'm not sure if Neeraj Maurya ji is here, but I can see his party members being here. I hope you convey this to him. Under PM Awas Urban, in the last decade, 1.18 crore houses have been built for the poor. Of that, 1.18 lakh crores is 1 crore and 18 lakh. 42 lakh have gone for OBCs, and 23 lakh houses have gone for scheduled castes. 60% of the houses under the PM Awas Yojana Gramin have been given to SC STs. 33% of the loans under PM Mudra Yojana have gone to SC ST OBC led enterprises. 70% of the beneficiaries under PM Swanidhi are SC ST OBCs. Stand Up India schemes, sir, which are helping the SC and ST entrepreneurs, 7,000 crores have been disbursed as loans for SC STs. 65% of the loans under PM formalization of micro food processing enterprises is gone for SCSTs. And October 24, Honorable PM launched the Dharti Aba Janjatiya Gram Utkarsh Abhiyan to address critical gaps in the social infrastructure, health, education, and livelihood development in 63,800 tribal villages. And then the Janjatiya Gaurav Divas in 2023, which was announced, PM Modi launched PM Jan Man for targeted support to 75 particularly vulnerable tribal groups for whom they are residing in 18 states and one union territory for safe housing, clean drinking water, education, health, road and telecom connectivity, electrification, sustainable livelihoods. I seek your indulgence, sir. I would not go further explaining more. For those non-budget related questions which honorable members have raised, the benefits of PLI scheme and so on, I'm not elaborating more. K.C. Venugopal ji asked about the pay commission. I take this opportunity to explain. Sir, our government has always been sympathetic towards the employees and pensioners' issues. For the first time, this government has implemented the full parity between pensioners of pre and post 7th CPC, Central Pay Commission. Thus, all pensioners of the central government who had retired before 1/1/2016 are now drawing the same pension as employees who retired before 1/1/2016. That's the first one. Thus, the demand of pensioners regarding parity has been agreed to and implemented by our government under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi. Prime Minister Modi also approved the establishment of 8th Central Pay Commission to revise the salaries and benefits for central government employees in January 2025. Now, as regards the amendment, I'd like to highlight, just give a brief background so that Honorable Member Venugopal understands why this amendment. The 6th Central Pay Commission, sir, was an expert body that had threadbare examined all the issues, disparities, and even representations which were given by employees before making their recommendations. The 6th Pay Commission report was submitted in 2006. In March 2008, which thereafter, after careful consideration, was accepted by the government then, March 2008. The manner of fixing pension which was recommended by the 6th Central Pay Commission was similar to the previous CPCs. So, it was accepted then by the government in March 2008. By this amendment that we are bringing in, the government is actually restoring that which was accepted in March 2008, and the 6th Pay Commission recommendation therefore is being honored and respecting it as an expert body. That is what is the objective and the aim of this amendment which is being introduced in this. So 2008 Honorable Member Venugopal will know the government accepted it, and it is that which we are restoring today. Yes, because yes, I will. No, don't worry, I hear you. After 16 years. Oh, please, no, please sit down. Honorable Member, please sit down, I'll tell you. Why is after 16 years, sir? Several court cases were going on. We had to wait for the verdict to come. And then we've gone back to saying, yes, now all the hearings are over, verdicts have been received. We are going back to honoring the decision which was taken in 2008. But in between there were litigation. How could I violate that? So I'm not misleading the House. Honorable Member Venugopal should please go back to analyzing if I've said anything wrong, and if this necessary amendment is reflective of a decision taken during their government. Thank you. Well, if you can cast an yes, if you've done several wrong, we talk about it. We don't shy away. But this decision, which was, I don't need to hide. I'm saying it openly. I'm saying it before you. If it wasn't in the court, I would have done it earlier. Thank you, sir.
प्रश्न ये कि विधेयक पर विचार किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें, मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में विधेयक पर विचार करने तो प्रस्ताव स्वीकृत हो गया। अब सभा विधेयक पर खंडवार विचार करेगी। श्री डीन कुरियाकोस संशोधन संख्या 1 से 4। प्रश्न ये कि श्री डीन कुरियाकोस द्वारा प्रस्तुत संख्या 1 से 4 स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में
सर मूव नहीं कर रहे, सर मूव नहीं कर रहे सर।
वालों के संशोधन अस्वीकृत हुआ। श्री सोगत राय संशोधन संख्या 65 से 72।
Sir, I move my amendments. Page 4, line 7 to 7.
प्रश्न ये कि श्री सोगत राय द्वारा प्रस्तुत संशोधन संख्या 65 से 72 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें, मेरे विचार में निर्णय ना वालों के पक्ष में संशोधन अस्वीकृत हुआ। प्रश्न है कि खंड 2 विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें, मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में खंड 2 विधेयक का अंग बना। माननीय मंत्री जी, संशोधन संख्या 25।
Sir, I move the 1 minute, sir. Sanshoshan, sir. 25. I move the amendment, sir, number 25.
प्रश्न है कि माननीय मंत्री द्वारा प्रस्तुत संशोधन संख्या 25 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हो हाँ कहें, जो विरोध में ना कहें, मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में संशोधन स्वीकृत हुआ। प्रश्न है कि खंड 3 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें, मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में खंड 3 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बना। प्रश्न है कि खंड 4 विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें, मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में खंड 4 विधेयक का अंग बना। माननीय मंत्री जी, संशोधन संख्या 26-27।
Sir, I move the amendment number 26 and 27.
प्रश्न है कि माननीय मंत्री द्वारा प्रस्तुत संशोधन संख्या 26 और 27 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में संशोधन स्वीकृत हुआ। प्रश्न है कि खंड 5 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में खंड 5 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बना। माननीय मंत्री जी, संशोधन संख्या 28 से 23।
33, sir. So I move the amendment number 28, 29, 30, 31, 32 and 33.
प्रश्न है कि माननीय मंत्री द्वारा प्रस्तुत संशोधन संख्या 28 से 23 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। 28 से 33 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष संशोधन स्वीकृत हुआ। प्रश्न है कि खंड 6 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में खंड 6 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बना। प्रश्न है कि खंड 7 विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में खंड 7 विधेयक का अंग बना। श्री सौगत राय जी, संशोधन संख्या 73।
Sir, I move amendment number 73, page 30, a substitution clause for lines 4 to 8. Sir, I would like the finance minister to clarify that the Americans are saying that the tariffs should be equalized. American team has arrived in Delhi.
प्रश्न ये कि सौगत राय द्वारा प्रस्तुत संशोधन संख्या 73 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय ना वालों के पक्ष में, ना वालों के पक्ष में संशोधन अस्वीकृत हुआ। प्रश्न है कि खंड 8 और 9 विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में खंड 8 और 9 विधेयक का अंग बना। सौगत राय जी, संशोधन संख्या 74।
I move amendment number 74 on page 30.
प्रश्न है कि श्री सौगत राय द्वारा प्रस्तुत संशोधन संख्या 74 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य के पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय ना वालों के पक्ष में, ना वालों के पक्ष संशोधन स्वीकृत हुआ। प्रश्न है कि खंड 3 विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष खंड 3 विधेयक का अंग बना। माननीय मंत्री जी, संशोधन संख्या 34।
So I move the amendment number 34.
प्रश्न है कि माननीय मंत्री द्वारा प्रस्तुत संशोधन संख्या 34 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य के पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में संशोधन स्वीकृत हुआ। प्रश्न है कि खंड 11 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य के पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में खंड 11 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बना। प्रश्न है खंड 12 विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य के विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में खंड 12 विधेयक का अंग बना। माननीय मंत्री जी, संशोधन संख्या 35 और 36।
So I move the amendment number 35 and 36.
प्रश्न है कि माननीय मंत्री द्वारा प्रस्तुत संशोधन संख्या 35 और 36 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष संशोधन स्वीकृत हुआ। प्रश्न है कि खंड 13 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष खंड 13 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बना। प्रश्न है कि खंड 14 से 16 विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष खंड 14 से 16 विधेयक का अंग बना। श्री सौगत राय जी, संशोधन संख्या 75।
Sir, I move amendment number 75 on page 34.
प्रश्न है कि सौगत राय जी द्वारा प्रस्तुत संशोधन संख्या 75 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहे, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहे। मेरे विचार में निर्णय ना वालों के पक्ष में, ना वालों के पक्ष में संशोधन अस्वीकृत हुआ। प्रश्न ये खंड 17 से 19 विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में। खंड 17 से 9 विधेयक का अंग बना। माननीय मंत्री जी, संशोधन संख्या 37।
I move the amendment number 37.
प्रश्न ये कि माननीय मंत्री जी द्वारा प्रस्तुत संशोधन संख्या 37 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में वो हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष संशोधन स्वीकृत हुआ। श्री सौगत राय जी, संशोधन संख्या 76।
Sir, before I move the amendment number
प्रश्न ये कि
76, sir,
सौगत राय जी द्वारा
only-
प्रस्तुत संशोधन संख्या 76 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य के पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय ना वालों के पक्ष में, ना वालों पर संशोधन अस्वीकृत हुआ। प्रश्न ये खंड 20 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में। खंड 20 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बना। प्रश्न है कि खंड 21 और 22 विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहे। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में। खंड 21 और 22 विधेयक का अंग बने। माननीय मंत्री जी, प्रस्ताव प्रस्तुत करें।
Sir, I move the motion.
प्रश्न है कि माननीय मंत्री द्वारा प्रस्तुत प्रस्ताव को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ। प्रस्ताव स्वीकृत हुआ। माननीय मंत्री जी, अब संशोधन संख्या 38 को प्रस्तुत करें। 38।
Sir, I move the amendment number 38.
प्रश्न है कि माननीय मंत्री द्वारा प्रस्तुत संशोधन संख्या 38 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में संशोधन स्वीकृत हुआ।